these were stopped. By whom? Not by those fellows in the opposition. They were stopped by the NRM. In the same way, we stopped those extreme abuses of human rights by fighting people who had more power than this bunch of thieves. Because like the people who were killing people were in the army, they had power, they had guns, but we fought them and disbanded them. So now how can a force which did all that fail to deal with a bunch of thieves?
Have you dealt with it?
Yes, we have dealt with many of them, but the issue here is evidence. It's, you know, when you are dealing with thieves, they don't steal during the day. They steal in hidden ways. It's not as obvious as, for instance, killing a human being. You need a fresh capacity, investigation, prosecution, the judges, and we have set up special institutions for that.
So you're saying you'll deal with all corrupt people, even if they are your relatives and members of your cabinet?
Of course, of course.
You've not dealt with those who've been implicated. An example is your security minister, Amama Mbambazi, and Mr. Kotesa, one of your in-laws.
Mbambazi was being hunted. You know, some of the people are trying to use these labels for political witch hunting, actually.
So you don't believe those allegations against them?
They were just, not only I don't believe, they were clear that they were not right. All of us, it was not only me, we sat in our caucus and we didn't see the capability of Mbambazi. If somebody is serious about fighting corruption, you don't take these matters to Parliament, because Parliament doesn't have time really to, or even the expertise to deal with corruption. So that shows you that in some of these cases, people have got political motives. They just want to pass a resolution so that you are branded. Because if you're interested in real justice, then you go to the technicians of justice, who are the judges.
Mr. President, let's talk about the oil that Uganda recently discovered. You have said in the past that Uganda's oil resources cannot be managed by the opposition, and some say that is why you're clinging on to power. How do you react to that?
Well, my dear friend, first of all, if you want to accuse me of clinging, accuse me of clinging to the resistance. Because I spent 20 years in the resistance. So what power was I clinging to? I was clinging to risks. Now, the resistance produced victory. Victory which we are using to build Uganda. So please, don't mix us up with those people of yours who power, what. We are on a mission. Liberate the country, build it up to a certain stage. Not only build Uganda, but also, if possible, build Africa.
What truth is there in saying, for example, that you're there to see Uganda through an oil boom?
First of all, oil has just come now. When we were fighting, we didn't know there was oil in the ground. And even when we were in the government, at the beginning, we got some indications, and we started building the capacity to look for that oil. But even if we are not found the oil, the transformation of Uganda would continue. So oil is just for tweeters, just chance. It cannot be. It could not have been part of our calculation. Our calculation was to build Uganda using whatever resources that were available, and there are resources which are more important than oil in Uganda. The human resource is the most important, more important than oil, because that is also part of the confusion of some of your questions. Why do you think oil is more important than the human beings? Japan doesn't have oil, but it is richer than these oil sheikdoms. Why? The human resource is the most important. There are a lot of ideological confusions in some of your questions, obviously. So why do you get fixation on oil and all this? We are not in that crowd of people.
Let's move on to an issue that has raised an international outcry as well, the anti-homosexuality bill. What will happen to that after the elections? Is it going to continue? Will it be passed into law?
We are trying to discuss with our people because, these are all provocations from some of the groups outside. The African people have their own history and culture. Africans regard homosexuality as not normal, as a deviation from normal. Now, the Europeans say homosexuals are an alternative way of life. Now, we have not met to discuss all this. I have not been called to any conference, international conference, to discuss this question. But you can see where the potential conflict is. Okay, so in your own country, America or whoever, you are convinced that the way you think is the right way. Then there's some other group of people, some Africans, those people with a dark color, you must have heard about them. They believe that this is not a normal way of life. So homosexuals here will not be persecuted. But for those groups who come and provoke our people, they should also restrain themselves. Our philosophy here is live and let live. Don't provoke.
Mr. President, let's talk about Somalia. You have 8,000 troops in Somalia, or nearly 8,000 troops in Somalia. This was supposed to be a Pan-African peacekeeping initiative under the AU. So far, it's only your forces and only Burundi who are inside Somalia. Do you feel that you've been left holding the candle by the rest of African countries?
Well, that's not new. That's not new because that is the history of the resistance in Africa. If I get an umbrella blessing from the whole of Africa, because they have passed the resolutions, say Africa should go there, should come in. Even if they don't come, because they have given the blessing, those who feel strong enough about it should come and help. That's what happened with the liberation of Southern Africa. That's what happened with the defeat of Idi Amin here. Everybody was condemning Idi Amin, but few did anything. But Tanzania took the lead, and we moved.